New Yorkers have chosen their new mayor, Zohran Mamdani, but how realistic are his campaign promises? What will actually happen in the city now? Tonight, we're talking with Jim Walden, independent candidate and top trial lawyer. Jim, great to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
You backed Andrew Cuomo. What do you think were the main mistakes his campaign made? Or do you think it's all Curtis Sliwa's fault for not dropping out?
Well, I think it was Mamdani ran a very spirited race. He clearly had the best field operation, so they were knocking on thousands of doors a day. We all were behind him on that, and that's one place that the Cuomo and the Sliwa campaigns could have improved. And Mamdani had the best social media. I mean, that's become an increasingly important part of elections. His was very dynamic, very exciting. Eventually, some of the other candidates caught up, and I think that's another area that we'll all learn for future elections.
You dropped out of the race, but your name was still on the ballot. Do you have any idea how many votes you ended up getting?
I think it was something somewhere around 2,100. So I dropped out in September. I was really hoping to get 0 votes because I knew, based on all of the non-Mamdani candidates splitting the vote, which was the real problem in the election. I wanted every single one of my supporters to vote for Cuomo, but still about 2,100 voted for me.
Usually after election night, the party rallies behind the winner. Are you open to working with Zohran Mamdani or offering your support to his new administration?
Listen, when you're on the plane, it's not a great idea to try to take out the pilot. So we're all in this together. I wish him a lot of luck. He's made many obstacles for himself. He likes to say that a campaign is about poetry and governing is about prose. I think his campaign was a lot about Fantasyland and making promises that he can't keep. And so he's made a real problem for himself because he literally can't deliver on many of his promises without a significant amount of capitulation by both the city council and Albany. And I'm not sure he's going to get the help that he needs to deliver on his promised freebie programs.
Campaign promises often end up just that, promises. How much of what Mamdani promised do you think he'll actually try to deliver, and what will just remain memories of the campaign?
Well, freeze the rent is something that has been central to his campaign. Now, we all know that freeze the rent does not mean that every single renter is going to get a rent freeze. We're only talking about 1 million families that live in rent-stabilized housing. So if you're in low-income housing, you're not getting a rent freeze. If you're in market housing, and even if you're struggling with your rent, you won't get a rent freeze. I think a lot of people are still confused about that. But the rent freeze for rent stabilized, he's promised to freeze over 8 years. That is never going to happen. First of all, he will chase every single landlord out of the city because many buildings are underwater. They owe more money than they're bringing in already. There are very profitable buildings in Manhattan. In the outer boroughs, there are fewer profitable properties. So he's never going to be able to do it for 8 years, and he's certainly not going to be able to do it in the first year or two because the Rent Guidelines Board is the agency that controls what happens with rents, and he can't just fire all of them and replace them with his hand-picked puppets. He's going to have to wait until terms expire, and then he can replace people. So it's going to take time for him to make the appointments unless there's a mass resignation of everyone on the Rent Guidelines Board.
Jim, you've probably seen the poll conducted right before the election suggesting that 750,000 New Yorkers are planning to leave, and that there are rumors that many large, medium, and even small businesses are thinking about leaving the city while they still can. How accurate do you think this is? Do you think a lot of people and businesses will actually leave New York?
Well, I think it's harder to leave the city than just making a decision that you're going to uproot a business. And so I think that those projections may not, I wouldn't call it fear mongering. I'm sure that the people that answered the survey were expressing in a way their fear or their concerns about the stability of our fiscal situation and our safety situation if Mamdani was the mayor. But I do believe that there's going to be capital flight. I do believe that wealthy individuals are going to move out of the city. I believe that businesses are going to move out of the city. And I believe that it'll be harder to get new businesses to come here. I also believe that a lot of police officers will leave. We've already had a lot of police officers leaving, and I think those numbers will go up. Whether, it goes up tremendously in terms of business, wealthy individuals and cops leaving or not, only time will tell.
Thank you, Jim. That is all for now. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and drop a comment. I'm Kat Pockrass, and I'll see you next time.